Hello and welcome to everyone. Today my guest is Cage Warriors champ Mason Jones from Wales. So Mason, can you please, and of course I hope the future UFC names. So Mason, can you please say a few words about yourself, few sentences, and we are ready to roll.
I'm Mason the Dragon Jones. I fight obviously on Cage Warriors, and I'm the current lightweight champion. And I'm very excited to be on.
Can you please elaborate your nickname? I thought your nickname is a Welsh Dragon, not Dragon. I thought wrong.
No, just the Dragon. Obviously, there's two sides to it. Obviously, the Welsh flag. I don't know if anyone watching hasn't seen it before. Is a white and green background with a big red dragon on the front. So it was something that obviously I've known since a baby. It's something that always appealed to me. And then one of the biggest quotes and sort of mentalities I've really clicked to was sort of the mindset of the dragon, which is sort of keep the fire in your stomach and keep your head nice and cool. So it's just to make sure that you go in with a cold mentality, and no matter how worked up and how passionate you are, you keep everything inside. And it was something that, especially me, who as a kid used to struggle with his anger and emotion, that it was something that really appealed to me. And whenever I sort of get worked up and stuff, it's sort of I always try and cool it down and try and make sure that you keep your head cold. And it's in my fight style especially. Like I'm always relaxed. I'm always nice and chilled out. And it's sort of you're malicious. You're cold, and it's always that mentality.
Outstanding. When did you start training martial arts? Was it as a kid or later?
No, I was quite young, so I started training at 7 years of age. I started with freestyle kickboxing. Then I moved, freestyle kickboxing with a little bit of grappling mixed in. And then like a year or two later, I started traditional jiu-jitsu, which was all they had sort of run by us, which was, it was sort of a mixture of sort of Kumite rules. It was sort of like gi wrestling mixed in with striking arts. Then I started judo when I was 10. Judo when I was 10, BJJ when I was 14, Muay Thai when I was 17, boxing when I was 17, 18. And I just never really looked back. So I've always made sure to spread out. Obviously, I've got 3 black belts in freestyle kickboxing, judo, which I was also in the Welsh national team and the British national team. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got my black belt in BJJ this year, I believe. I think maybe last year. I can't remember. I'm sure it was this year. It all blends in. And I've also got a brown belt in traditional Jiu-Jitsu from when I was younger. So I've really sort of based my style out. I've spent years, the last couple of years, probably 6 years, doing freestyle taekwondo as well. Really sort of mostly I do 100% privates just to improve my kicking, more so to supplement my Thai boxing and my boxing. I was a pro boxer, so I've really sort of built my groundworks up. Like I've been training in November, it'll be I believe 18 years. So I've really obviously put the work in. I fought thousands of times with judo especially. That was the highest level I competed at. I was ranked on a European stage as well as the British stage, and like we competed every weekend. Sometimes you get up to 16 fights in on a weekend. So I've fought numerous times, and I've lost more times than I can count.
Outstanding. So you are a mixed martial artist or you're more towards grappling?
Oh, definitely a mixed martial artist. I like to strike, but also I like to grapple. Obviously, with a judo background, I had good sort of a good wrestling base anyway, and then with good wrestling coaches and stuff, and the grappling I done as a youth, it just sort of developed into something else. So I really enjoy wrestling. My jiu-jitsu I really enjoy, and I'm quite good at. Obviously the BJJ black belts there, and I can keep up with. I believe I can keep up with any submission artist in the UK. But striking is where I spend most of my fights. It's just more exciting for me. I like to strike with my hands. I like to strike with my elbows, my knees, and my feet. And I'm sort of trying to develop as a full fighter and develop everywhere else. MMA, I believe, in a modern era needs to be everywhere. You can't just sort of, you can't focus on one area. You have to make sure everything's spread out. You have to be good everywhere.
Outstanding. Who are your coaches?
So my judo coach still coaches me, Craig Ewers. He was a GB athlete himself for multiple years. Fought high level, went to Commonwealth Games, European Championships. He placed in the World Championships in ninth place, I believe. Very, very well-rounded fighter who's now got his feet in BJJ and is doing very well on the BJJ scene. Multiple fights on Polaris and multiple things. My boxing coach is Lyndon James. Me and Lyndon's got a really good connection, and he worked very closely with me, especially he's followed me through my pro boxing days and all the way through. He's a very good, very good boxing coach. Him and his brother work together, teach the gym, and they've taught Lauren Price, who's just won this year, I believe, the amateur world championships. So she's the world champion in the gym in amateur boxing as well. Then I have another one of my corner coaches is Greg Creel. Greg's my jiu-jitsu coach. Greg I met when I was doing the judo, and I've trained with him since I was 15. Greg's very well-rounded, BJJ style. Trains under Pedro Bessa, also under Teles and Terere. Very, very knowledgeable guy and very, very good instructor. And then they're my corner team. And then my coaches outside the gym, I've got Reece Jones, who's my S&C, my S&C coach who helps my weight cuts. I got Paul Aaron, who's my nutritionist. Carl Betty, who's my Taekwondo coach. And again, he's fought in multiple styles of Taekwondo, multiple world championships in certain styles, European results, fought all over the world. And then my Thai coach is Stephen Gifford. Stephen Gifford, he's, again, in the gym, there's a world champion, really respected Thai coach, really well known in Wales. So I've got a very good team. I don't think I missed anyone. But yeah, it's weird because my coaches all teach in different gyms, so I spread my training out over different gyms. So there's a lot of travel involved. Some days I'll do probably 300 miles in a week, traveling between gyms, maybe more, probably more actually. I go to Cardiff sometimes 2-3 times a week there and back. It's 45 miles there, 45 miles back, so probably more. So it's a lot of travel. Obviously it's hours in the car, but I enjoy it. And I get the hours in, like I train 3-4 times a day. Something like 23, 24 sessions a week.
It's outstanding, really outstanding. Can we discuss your tattoos?
Yes, good question. So that's a very good question. So my tattoos are all pagan religion based. So every one of my tattoos as sort of a meaning. Well, it has a meaning and as sort of backing in certain religions. So my left arm, obviously, I've got the dragon between my knuckles to my elbow. That was, again, the mentality side of things. It's Japanese style dragon, and it just sort of, whenever I look at it, I always make sure to stay calm and make sure you stay centered. My right arm, I've got a very good tattooist. He is a pagan religious sleeve, all about war. So there's different gods, different religions mixed in. So there's Nordic pieces to it, there's Egyptian pieces, some Japanese, there's Hindu, Egyptian, Celtic, and every single one of them is something to do with war. So it's so I got Satesh on my elbow here, there. Satesh is god destruction and death and war, and Ra on my elbow. I can't remember the name of the god inside. And an Aztec god on my shoulder, and the sun god to do with war. So it's all to do with war, and fight. It's just sort of to do with fighting. It was something I always wanted. I've got a quote on the inside of my chest here. That's to do with a friend of mine who died. And then on my back, I've got a skull and 2 ravens. And the skull contains Norse. I can't remember what they're called now, Norse compasses. So they are for protection from different things. And the main thing is I like the meaning behind things. So obviously the ravens on my back, they cross into 2 different things. So the thought and memory in the Nordic religion to do with Odin's ravens, and then obviously they cross through into Celtic religion as well to do with the Morgana. So I like the crossovers in religion. I like the way that people used to believe in things, I guess, and people still believe. On my shin, then I've got Medusa on my knee. This is funny actually because Medusa on my knee turns people to stone. So obviously you need people, you turn people to stone. So I thought that was quite funny, and I've got the startings of a Hydra on my foot, working down my shin on my foot. So eventually, when I get everything finished, because most of my tattoos are unfinished, to be honest, I got a lot of work to do on all of them. I'll have a Hydra moving on my foot, and the bite of a Hydra in Greek religion is incurable. So obviously, you kick people and they don't recover from it. So I just thought obviously it appealed me, and I like to base my tattoos on religions and the way people believe them. Obviously, the way people still believe in certain places.
It's outstanding, really. One of the most detailed answers I've ever got. Do you have favorite strikes and submissions?
Pardon? Sorry, missed that one.
Do you have favorite strikes and submissions?
Right, so favorite submission of mine, obviously it's a hard question anyway because I do love a lot of different subs, but my favorite and probably the one I catch more than anything is Standing Kimura from Side Control from Upper. It's something I've liked for a long time and something I'm very good at. I try it in a lot of my fights, and more often than not I catch it. Obviously rear naked chokes and stuff are fun, but a Kimura is where I normally go to. Favorite strikes, this is a hard one. I really like the question mark kick. It's one of my favorites. Just is such a clean kick. The foot comes up and then snaps around. Sparring especially, I catch a lot of people with it. I'm yet to knock anyone out in one of my fights with a big head kick. So it's coming, but obviously still need to improve a lot. My Taekwondo coach is very good. Like I said, he works very closely with me, and I don't think it's going to be long before I catch someone and suits him on one of my kicks. Obviously, my girlfriend, I don't know if you knew this. Certain people have in the past have asked about it. She's Olympic Taekwondo style, so she's very, very, very good at Taekwondo. She fought in the Commonwealth Games and got a bronze medal. I was unlucky to miss out in the finals.
How's the name?
Pardon?
How's the name? Her name?
Madison Davis.
I heard of her.
Really?
No, really. I'm a Taekwondo black belt. I heard of her.
Awesome. Yeah. She did Olympic qualifiers and she had a gold medal in Olympic qualifier. Unfortunately, she doesn't do it anymore. She still trains, but she doesn't compete in it anymore. I think she's more so looking to move across into Thai fighting. I dragged her into a Thai gym when she came home. Her Olympic Taekwondo gym, was based in Nottingham, which is 4 hours away. So she used to travel back and forth a lot, and she was living up there. And then she had to move back for different reasons. So now she's living in Wales. So she travels up to train now and again, but most of the time she trains in a Thai boxing gym, and she's sort of more and more looking to compete into sort of Thai boxing and transfer across, which is unfortunate. But yeah, she's very good. So she's very heavily critic of my kicking. So surely with her and Carl looking and my Thai coach looking, it won't be long before I land a big head kick.
Well, when I was watching your fights, I was thinking that you have some Taekwondo background, because looking back at the path of your strikes, I was wondering where is that, we call it Brazilian kick in my country, but that's question mark kick. I was wondering where it's coming from.
Yeah, obviously my kicks are still poor. I'll openly say that. I've been training twice a week for probably 7 years, but kicking takes a long time. Like, I started kickboxing, but Taekwondo, the way they go into techniques is so much cleaner than anything I've ever done. Like, I did the American style kickboxing, and nothing really shows technique as well as Taekwondo. And for breaking kicks down and building up powering kicks, I don't think there's a better sport for Taekwondo than Taekwondo. So my side kicks, I use a lot. I'm still a lot to improve on. My reverse side kicks is one of my favorite kicks. I always called it my back kick, and my girlfriend corrected me and said your foot's in the wrong position, so it's a reverse side kick. But that's probably one of my favorite kicks as well. Like I throw that a lot, especially with a little jump in between just to build momentum through. And I catch it. I dropped a lot of fighters with it. My high turns and stuff. I've been working on my flexibility, especially in isolation now, just to sort of try and make them a bit freer. My hips are still quite tight, but my chamber's getting there now, so it's not going to be long.
I hope so too. So I hope so too. I mean, your kicks are very good from what I've seen for an MMA fighter, but I don't compare it. I don't compare it to a taekwondo and so. But in MMA, rarely people have such good kicks. So I'm a taekwondo black belt, and I'm talking to you from my experience. I mean, that's what I'm talking. Can you please? Yeah.
So I said, hopefully one day you'll be able to look at me and think he's a good kicker. All around us, so it doesn't matter whether taekwondo or not, he's a good kicker. That's my goal, to be able to kick to the same level as a high level taekwondo kicker. So I've got a long time, but I'm more than willing to put the time in.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you discuss your first MMA fight?
Right, so this is going to be a difficult question for you. My first pro fight, or my first unified amateur fight, or my first MMA fight, because my first MMA fight on an unauthorized rule set was when I was 15. So when I was 15, I fought, obviously I think it was 15 or 14, I fought on a strike and grapple show, which in Wales were the only shows really going on at the time. And I fought a guy who was 26, I think, and I submitted him in 30 seconds with a sort of triangle armbar lock. I went for the triangle, and then as he was tightening up, I pushed the arm across the leg, called the armbar. So that was my first fight. I remember I had one or two after that, but that was the first one that really stands out for me. And then I went into judo and obviously completed a high level. And then I looked to make my pro debut after my boxing. I struggled to get boxing fights, so rather than wait around, I spent 2 years and only got 3 fights in pro boxing. So rather than wait around any longer, I decided to move into MMA and make my debut rather than wait and get in any longer, like I wasn't getting younger. I made my debut. My first 2 pro opponents on the new Cage Warriors cards were Safe MMA cleared, and 2 opponents failed their pro medicals. So it was short notice. They found me a unified amateur fight. So I took a unified amateur bout, and I beat him in the first round by, I believe it was Kimura. Can't remember. And then not long after that, I made my pro debut, and I won in the 3rd round via a rear naked choke, I believe, against Sean Luther. So obviously I've had a long career run, and I've had a lot of difficulties. Boxing especially, like finding fights for me was very difficult. Every time I sort of get allowed on the show, I'd sell tickets for. The show would cancel, or my opponent would pull out, or something would come along and sort of get in the way, and it was just irritating. Like I just want to fight. Obviously, I think you can understand as a fighter yourself that when you do all the training, you get ready to fight, you just want to fight. That's the way it goes.
Awesome. So in your second second professional MMA fight, did you fight Brett Hassett?
Brett Haslett, yeah. So that's the only fight of mine that's not on Cage Warriors. That fight was on a Swansea show. I can't remember the card name. But it was on a show up in Cardiff, and in Swansea, sorry. It was a show up in Swansea. And I finished first round by Kimura. I remember that fight clearly.
Yeah, outstanding. So then you bounced back to Cage Warriors to square off against Lawrence Tracy, right?
Yeah. So after my first fight, I got offered a Cage Warriors contract. So after I fought Luther, I got offered a Cage Warriors contract for a 5-fight deal. I said obviously I'm perfectly happy to, but I wanted one more fight before the end of the year. They had no shows I could get on. The only show was in Belgium, and there was no really matchups for me at the time. So they allowed me to get one more fight in before that. So I fought Brett. Then I went on and fought Lawrence Tracy in Newport. I finished him with TKO in the third round. Do you remember which round? I think it was second round. Obviously, I thought it should have been ended a bit earlier. He managed to scrape along to the bell, and in the next round I put him away. So Lawrence was very good. I hit him with some very good shots. Looking back though, I watched these fights and I think I look so scrappy compared to where I am now. I'm so cleaner. And then after that fight, I fought Commanday. I think it was Commanday. I went into the fight. No, I didn't. No, I fought Craig Edwards first. Craig Edwards in Ebb Vale, and then I fought Commanday in London. I broke my hand in the Craig Edwards fight, and then I went into the Commanday fight with a broken hand. So I struggled putting away, but I really improved a lot from my wrestling in that fight, and I won a 3-round unanimous decision. And then after that fight, I think I fought Casper Formella. Casper was very good. Casper obviously had a karate-based background, freestyle kicking, very dangerous with his kicks, caught me in the body with a very good kick, and I changed the level. He caught my head kick, followed me to the ground, defended, sort of got my composure back, and then as we got back to the feet, I finished him, so I finished him in 4 minutes. And then after Casper was Desme. Desme, I went to decision on, very easy, clean decision for me. And then obviously it was Alexi Mankivi in my fight after that. Alexi, I went to decision with again, even though I should have finished. I missed some very easy submissions I should have finished. Should have put away standing up, took 2 cuts. So I decided rather than stay standing up, to get a bit more composure in me and sort of take it down. Again, there's another fight that I because I sort of pushed the finish too hard, made a few mistakes I shouldn't have, and should have ended the fight but didn't. And then obviously my latest fight was against Joe McColgan for the lightweight championships, which I finished in the first round in 4 minutes with KO. I finished him with the knee standing up and then ground and pound strikes before the ref stepped in.
Against Joe McColgan, I watched that fight. I even did a live commentary, and I was pretty much surprised with your early on you started using very wise strategy. You were dominating from the start. So did you have some special preparation for that fight?
So believe it or not, Joe was the third opponent they offered me. So I was supposed to fight an Italian. He's an ex-UFC veteran, so I did most of my camp in preparation for him. Then 2 weeks before the fight, he pulled out. He had corona issues in his country, I believe, medical issues, and he had to pull out. So they offered me a new opponent, a French guy who was Taekwondo style. I started preparation for him, working with my Taekwondo coach, my Thai coach, and my girlfriend, obviously, in preparation for the quick switch around. And then a week out from the fight, he pulled out his eye infection and cleared up. So they offered me Joe McColgan for the championship. So I took that fight on a week's notice. Lucky enough, we already had a sort of game plan in place for Joe. I'd seen his fights, watched his fights previously. I saw him as a future opponent. And then after his last fight, where he had a draw, obviously his last fight he won, but the fight before that he had a draw. I sort of thought he slipped off my radar a little bit. Obviously he had a loss, then a draw, then a win, so he was sort of coming up he had to build his way back up rather than sort of being a threat. So I didn't expect to fight him, but when they offered the fight, I was more than happy to. My game plan going into that fight was to smash his legs, slow him down, get him to plant his feet, so that I'm the more mobile fighter, and then start catching him with shots, get him to shell up. And I noticed that when he shells up, he tilts his head down, so he brings his hand in and tilts his head down, so I need to be open to either an uppercut or a knee. So the game plan was to sort of slow him down, beat him up a little bit first. I was a bit too keen at the start. I didn't find my range of my kicking. My low turn kicks and my Achilles kicks, I found my range early on them. I usually find range early on them. But any of my straight kicks, my side kicks or my reverse side kicks, I couldn't really find range. So I kept the pressure on, caught him with some nice shots, sort of deflected as many and blocked as many shots back as I could, and just constantly worked the legs. In the ground exchanges, I was always knee in the one leg. So all the damage I could do was always concentrated on the one leg. Sorry. Towards the end of the first, I caught him. I need him in the clinch, and I felt his legs sort of go back a little bit. We created a bit of distance, and I caught him with a Achilles kick, and that hurt him. And then sort of that was beginning the end. I caught him with I think it was a hook cross, then a hook again to shell up, and then hit him with another 2 to keep him shelled, and then brought the knee through and the knee landed flush, and obviously that dropped him and sort of landed him a bit dazed. And I followed up with some shots just to make sure the referee stepped in.
Yeah, it was an outstanding fight. So, can you discuss coronavirus diaries? How are you spending your time? How are you staying busy now? It's very hard. I mean, Luckily, in my state, one day ago they stopped the blocking in the whole country. We are not under lockdown anymore, thanks God, but it was terrible. So how are you spending your time now?
So I've been lucky enough that my boxing coach, because the gym was closed, they got 3 sets of keys. So one set of keys is given me, another set of keys was given to Lauren, who's the world champion from the gym. So we go in at certain times, obviously on our own. So I've been training there on my own most mornings. My kicking coach been sending programs to me, and I've been sort of FaceTiming him from the gym, so he's keeping an eye on my kicking and sort of giving me tips and sort of trying to help out that way. We've really been working on my leg conditioning stuff and my flexibility. So hopefully when I get back, I can start landing those devastating kicks. I've been running a lot. Yesterday I decided to go for a 40-kilometre cycle instead. Obviously in Wales, you're either going uphill or you're going downhill. There's not many flats. So I hit some really, really steep climbs. I think when I checked my Strava after, I climbed for 1 hour and 30 minutes straight climbing. So it was a lot. I'm staying active. I'm lifting a lot. My S&C coach is still sending me regular programs, so I'm lifting regularly and making sure I get my programs in. And I'm just staying fit, staying ready. When the call-up comes and they decide when they reopen, I'll be more than fit, more than ready to get straight back into training properly. So I'll be ready to go straight back sparring, ready to start sort of improving, and ready to go straight to fight camp. There's not going to be any delay. There's not going to be too much weight gain. I'm going to be ready to go.
Oh yeah, in my state we had a period when they didn't literally let us go out unless to go to the grocery store, and I got used to training at home, to be honest, and they are not going to let it go for a pretty much long period of time, but I got used to training home. But we have to adjust and so on. How much time did you need to adjust to the new critical situation?
To the coronavirus?
Yep.
Well, after the fight, I had a week where sort of no one really knew what was going on. It didn't really make a difference to me because obviously I fought on the Friday, we come home on the Saturday. I didn't really get a chance to see anyone because lockdown went into respect on the Friday I fought. So we got home, I had a rest for a few days, and then I sort of started speaking to my coaches about when I could go back training, when we could start things. We didn't really know what was happening. So I think I had about a week out before I ended up just to rest up some little things. Like I didn't have any injuries moving into that fight, believe it or not, but there was niggles, things that could have become injuries. So I wanted to make sure I sort of put some time into them and recover them. So I had about a week out, and then I was back in the gym. I was back hitting bags, doing a little bit of pad sort of thing, just as much as I can. I don't really like to have too much time out. Anything more than a week out, really lifting wise, you start to go backwards. So I try to make sure I lift regularly, keep my S&C strong. Strength conditioning is a big part of my training. I like to stay fit. I like to stay ready. I think it just helps with everything else. If you're strong and you're conditioned, everything's easy. You kick in, you strike in your pads, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, everything's easier. So I like to stay ready. So the only thing I really haven't got back into is wrestling or my jiu-jitsu. Mostly because you need another person to train with. So if it goes any longer, I'm going to have to start seeing if my Taekwondo girlfriend will like to start Jiu-Jitsu. But at the minute, I'm just training everything else and trying to do the best I can.
Yeah, I agree. So with Cage Warriors out of the line and with UFC getting back on its feet, what do you think? Who might be the next in line when this Hell on Earth ends for you?
Pardon?
Who might be the next opponent for you when this ends?
So the biggest question for me would be, is Europe going to be back open for business? Because if I can't get an opponent in from outside Europe, then who do I fight? I'd love to fight the UFC veteran. Obviously, someone who's fought the level before would be a good fight for me at the moment, because if I'm beating the guys I am, and then they give me a UFC veteran and I finish UFC veteran in the first couple of rounds, then it shows I'm more than ready for the big leagues. And I don't think I'm too far away from getting signed to UFC as it is. So a good win for me would help. But the way it's looking at the moment, I think it'd have to be a British fighter, because I can't see him being able to get an outside or a European into Britain to fight. So I'm really not sure. To be honest, I'm not really worried. I don't really see anyone in the lightweight division that's sort of up there, that's sort of pushing the next in line. So whoever they give me is just another person who's going to get put away.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I hope it will end as soon as possible, this Hell on Earth. Luckily, the situation is calming down here, but they plan to open borders at the end by the end of June in my state. Don't know about England, but in my state they said by the end of the June they will open everything.
So we've just been given lockdown for an extra 3 weeks, and then after that, I think they're going to start relaxing things. So they're hoping for me to fight in August. So hopefully that'll still go ahead, and hopefully they can get me an opponent.
Yeah. Would you like to add something to this interview? Is there maybe something you would like to say? Maybe you would like to greet someone or...
I'd like to give a big shout out to my sponsors. So obviously they support and fund my training. Tammy Fightwear, they've sponsored me since I was a kid. PP Builders, CCS Scaffolding, Paint Seekers, SD Sealants, Candle Talent. Like all these guys support and help me as they go, and they do a crazy good job. So thanks for all the support.
Thank you so much for this lovely interview. I will start creating video now, but I have to go, I have to go live with UFC commentary and so on. So if the video is over until then, I will post it. If not, I will post it tomorrow.
Perfect, sounds good. Thank you for having me on.
No problem, Mason. Have a great day, and I hope we'll watch you in the UFC soon.
Me too. Speak to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Have a great day.